Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, we'll discuss about how to save the data in a SQLite database. Also, we'll discuss about how to read the data from SQLite database in an Android application using Android Studio. So before I start, what is a SQLite database? So it is an inbuilt database that comes with the Android platform, and it is similar to a Microsoft Access database. And when you create a database in a SQL database, you'll be getting one file and where all the components will be stored. And the internal structure of the database is actually similar to a relational database. So it's a table structure where you can store data in a table format with a row and columns. And there is no need of specific installation or drivers are actually required. So now let's see an example program how to store the data and how to read the data from SQLite database in an Android application using Android Studio. So first of all, I'll create an Android project here. Select MD activity. So here I will name it as database application. Click finish. So in this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate a table structure like this. So I'm going to create a table, users table, with 3 columns. First one is name, next one is phone number, next column is location. So first column I'm going to store the name of the person, and next column phone number of the person, then location of the person. Okay. So now let's see how we can create a database and how to create a table like this and how to store the data using Android application. Let's start the design for the user interface. So first I need a text box. So first I'll go to the palette and select plain text editor. So add as edit text, and by using this anchor point we can layout. There is a constraint layout we can perform. So after doing a constraint layout, you can wherever you want you can place it. Just you have to drag the edit text box, and the width we can increase here. Instead of wrap content we can use match constraint. That is a 0 dp match constraint. And in the left side and right side, if you want to give a margin, we can provide here. You select the edit text, in the right side in the come to the attribute section layout, you can see there is a margin we can set. The right side also we can set margin, so that the design look like this. So this is for name. So let's edit the ID. I'll assume as name. And the default text is actually name, that we can remove it, and the hint we can give name. So after adding the name edit text box, we can place the next edit box. There is a plain text, one more plain text I am going to place it here. So constraint layout we have to fix it. Just you have to place the anchor point to this bottom of this text box, and this to the right side border, and this to the left side border. So now if you want a small gap, we can give just drag and drop, just drag it. Otherwise we can adjust the margin, top margin here also. 5 dp is enough. So we'll be getting small gap between the first text box and second text box. So the second text box, the ID we can change. So here I'm going to collect the phone number. So let it be phone number. The width I am changing to match parent. So after changing to match parent, the left side margin we can set to with respect to the previous edit text box. So both side will be getting 10 border. The default text we can change to empty, and here the hint, this place we can provide the hint for the user to enter the proper data. Let it be phone number. And next, the next data location we have to collect. So for that, again I am going to take another plain text box and do the constraint layout. Then come to the top constraint, just you have to place it to the bottom of the text box. Then you can adjust the margin from bottom. You can give 5. And the remaining attribute, first one is the ID. So here I am going to keep the ID as a location, and the width is match constraint, and the hint for the user to enter the location, we can give a proper hint, and the default text we can remove it. And here the left side and right side margin, we can, as with respect to the previous text box, we can give it 10. So that you can see the design aligned properly, the 3 text box aligned properly. So next we have to place the button to save the, once the user enter the data, we have to save the data to the SQLite database. So for that we have to add a button. Just you can pick a button and we can keep it here. Then we have to place a constraint. So left side constraint from this and right side constraint up to this border, and this button should come below this text box. So the top constraint is this one, you have to link to this. After that we can place it and anywhere, just you have to align with respect to the space availability. Then ID I am going to change to save. So this button for saving the details to the database, and the default text I'll change it to save. So now button is ready for saving the data. And to view the data, I'm going to add another button to view the data. I'm going to place it here. So here also we have to do the constraint, right side constraint, and then we have to give the top constraint. When it comes to top constraint, if you want this button to be horizontally along with this particular button, so you can do the horizontal constraint by just clicking this anchor point, connect to the top of this button. You have to connect to the top of this button, so it look like this. So after that, so this button, the right side is actually connected to the border of the window, so that we have to change it to this, up to this particular button. Okay, the right side constraint of the save button, you have to connect to this button. Okay, and this second button will change the ID. Second button is for view option. So here and the text we can change to view all. So when you click the button view all, I want to read all the records from this SQLite database, and I have to show that the records. So now coming to the layout, this button layout is okay. That is actually under this text box, and left side constraint is done, and right side constraint is actually we have connected to this button. And for this button, the top is actually connected to here, so that it will come in a horizontal order, and the right side actually we have connected to this border, but this particular anchor point we didn't connect, so we have to do the constraint for this particular anchor point. So for that you have to go to the code and find the view button. So view button is here. Here we have to add one constraint start. The constraint name is constraint start. to end of you have to give the ID of the previous button. The ID of the previous button is save, so it will come after the button. So now if you see the design, now you can understand here there is a constraint is added and followed by next. You can also see the margin also. If you want to make it horizontally, the margin should be 0. Okay, so after changing the constraint, you just look at the margin. If it is changing, you have to make it as 0 so that it will come in the horizontal manner. Okay, right. So now this button take all the details, the name of the user, phone number, location, and it will store the data. And when you click this button, it will read the data from the database and display it in the screen. To display, we need another component. To display the returned records, we need another component. So for that, we are going for a text view. So you can use a text view here. And the text view, the size, width we can change to match constraint. And okay, before setting a match constraint, you have to set a anchor point constraints. So first you have to keep the text box below this button. So you have to link this anchor point to this button, and the right side you have to link to this border, and left side you have to link to this border. Okay, so it look like this. So now you can just adjust wherever you want. Just you have to drag and drop. So the corresponding margin will be automatically calculated to the distance where you are modifying. On the right side and left side margin you can change. So we can change it to 20, and the right side also we can put it 20. And also this font we can change. If you want to change the font, you go to the text color. For example, you want to change the text color. So I want this color. Okay, so I'll select here. The default text is text view. So the default text we can change. So list of users goes here. So I'll write list of users goes here. So the text view look like this. List, we'll write like list of users goes here. Okay, so when you click the view button, this text view will be updated with respect to the data available in the table. Okay, so that is our objective. So just wherever you want, you can keep it. So after completing the design, so now the design is completed, and the text view we have to set the ID also. For text view we have to set the ID. So this is the default ID. So instead of this default ID, I'll write as the ID value is display, so that using this ID we can access this text view. Okay, right. So now in order to check the interface, to verify whether the interface components are actually correctly located, we can run the program. Now I'll run the code and you can check the interfaces, the UI design is proper or not. Okay, the design is okay. So now the design is okay. So now next we discuss about how we can take the data from this text box and how to store it in a SQLite database. So for that you have to go to main activity, and first you have to find all the components that we have added. So we have included 3 text box, edit text box, and 2 buttons and 1 text view. So we have to create variables for, first we have to create the variable for edit text. So first one is for name, the next one is for mobile number, and next third one is for location. The same way you have to find the button also. So create button, 2 buttons, save, comma, next view all button, 2 buttons, followed by we have to find the text view. So 3 components. So this is output box. So we have created a variable. So now we have to assign the object, like we have to find the edit text box. So name box we have to find using a find view by ID. Inside we can give the ID for the name. The same way you can find the remaining items. Mobile find view by ID r.id dot phone number. So that is ID for the mobile edit text box for the phone number. Then followed by location, where you can find view by ID r.id dot location. The last one, the next is button. So next we have to find the button. So first we have to find the save button. Find view by ID r.id dot save. Then view all is equal to find view by ID r.id dot view. Okay, finally for displaying the saved items, we are going to take this text view. So output box is equal to find view by ID. So this output box ID is a display. So we have made it as a display, right? So after finding this components, first we have to write the event handling for the button. So when you click the button, when user click the button, we have to save the details, and when user click the button view all, we have to read the data from the database. So 2 event handling we have to write, one for saving. So this was saving data to SQLite event handling. So save dot, we have to trigger a set on click listener, new view, generate the view dot on click listener. So inside you will be getting a on click function. The same way for to view all saved records, we have to write another event handling, set on click. When you click the set view all button, so you have to generate the view dot new view dot on click listener generated. So when user select save button, you have to, the logic is we have to read the data from the first text box and the second text box and the third text box. Name, phone number, location we have to read, and we have to store it, and we have to call necessary function to store it in a database. So first I'll store it here. The name of the person, I'm going to store it as a person name is equal to the name text box dot get text, then dot toString. The next data I'm going to consider the mobile number. So mobile number, I'll store it as a contact number is equal to, here I have stored the text box as a mobile, right? So we have to use a mobile dot get text dot toString. And next we are going to find the location. So the location, I will create another variable place. So place is equal to location box. From location box we can get the toString. Okay. So after this we have to trigger the necessary function for saving the data to the database. So now we are coming to the saving the data to the database concept. So for that, first of all we have to create a new Java class. Go to project, add a new Java class to your Java package, where already the main activity.java is there, right? So just right click there, right click new, select Java class. So here we have to create a class called database helper class. So we have to create one database helper class. So using the database helper class, we have to interact with the database. So create our own user defined database helper class, and this helper class we have to extend. You have to extend from, there is a predefined SQLite open helper. You have to select it from the list SQLite open helper. This provides two functions that you have to implement. To implement those functionality, we have to right click the code, generate, go to generate, select implement methods. Here you can see the two methods, on create function and next one is on upgrade function. So these two functions we have to implement. Click OK. Then you will be getting another error. So here, so when you create a database helper by extending the SQLite open helper class, so we have to access the constructor of the SQLite open helper. We have to call the constructor. So constructor, to call the superclass constructor, we must override the constructor. You have to use the constructor, then click OK. So it will create a constructor for you, and this nullable you can remove, it is not needed now. So automatically you will be getting this nullable annotation, right? For simplicity we can remove that. Okay, so now you will be getting a constructor code like this. So here there are 4 parameters. First is a context of the activity. So context is nothing but the activity reference, the current screen reference that is available here, so that we can pass here. And the next is the second parameter is the name of the database. The name of the database we have to pass. So for understanding, I will change it to database name. Okay, DB name. Okay, so this is a DB name. So the same DB name we have to pass here also. Okay, so if you change here, you have to change it here also. So it's a DB name. The next is a cursor factory object. So if you are using any specific cursor factory, we can pass the object reference. Otherwise we can keep it as a null value, and here the version of the database you are going to create, that you have to mention. Okay, now let's see how we can use this constructor. You just go back to the main activity. So here we can create one database helper variable, that is a DB, let it be DB. So this DB is a variable which I am going to use to call the functionalities of the database helper. So before calling the functionality, we have to create the database helper object. So after creating a variable in the outside the onCreate, now inside onCreate function we have to initialize the DB variable is equal to new database helper. Inside we have to pass these values: context reference, database name, and the cursor factory, and the version number in integer format. So the context reference, we can take the current class main activity dot this. So it gives the context reference. The name of the database we can decide our own database. Here actually here I am using a table as users. So database I will assume as the database name is actually I'll assume as company. So company database. Okay, the database name is company. So I'll put it as a company database, the name of the database. The next followed by the cursor factory. Cursor factory we can give null. Then followed by, first time when you are creating the database, we have to start with the version 1. Then when you are updating the database, we can give it as a 2, so that what happened is this version, when you update, whenever you update the database, this function will be automatically called. Okay, this function will be automatically called whenever you update the database, right? So now what happened is, now we have a database variable here, database helper variable is created. using this database helper variable, we can access the database helper class. Okay, and if you write any functionality, we can access that. Okay, so now we are coming to the database helper. So inside database helper, the database is ready. The company database, we have passed the name of the database. So when you create object, what happened? It will call this constructor, and the database is assigned to the super class, and it will be assigned to the SQLite open handler, where the database will be automatically created. So now we have to create the table. So table is actually the name we are assuming is users. The table we want to create a users, and the columns, 3 columns, name, phone number and location. And the type of the data is name is string, and the phone number also string, and location also string. So now let's see how we can create a database table. So to create a database table, we have to come to the onCreate function. Inside onCreate function, so this is a reference for the SQLite database. So here you can see the SQLite database there, right? So here you will be getting the reference of the SQL database, and we can simplify it to DB, so that we can for simplicity we can change the variable to DB. Now we can use a DB dot, there is a function called execute SQL function. Inside we can pass the query to execute. To create a table, we can use a create table query. The name of the table we want to create is users. Within bracket, you have to specify the column. First column is a name. The data type is varchar, and you can give the size. I'm going to assume as 20. The next column is a phone number, so I'm going to keep it as varchar. So the number of width is 20, or phone number we can keep it as 10 also. You can keep it as 10 digits. And next we can create another variable location, so which is also a varchar. So inside location we can give the width as 20. So that's all. The create table query is correctly formed, and we have passed inside the db.execute SQL function. Okay, so this will execute the query and it will create a table. Sometimes when you change the version, whenever you change the version, this function will be called. So what we have to do is, when you change the version, this table we have to delete, and we have to create a new table. So for that, again here we have to execute the query for deleting the table. So drop table if exists users. So drop table with the condition, if a users table is available, it must be deleted during upgradation. After that, we have to call the onCreate again. Okay, so this way we have completed up to now. We have created a database using this constructor. We have created a database. Okay, this constructor, I'll write the hint points. To create a constructor, so to create a SQLite database, so this constructor is calling a super function, right? So here only it is happening, right? It is done by the SQLite open helper constructor logic, and in onCreate function we are creating a table. So in onCreate we are creating a table, and when it comes to upgrade, we are dropping it. So we are drop the table when the version changes. Okay, so next, so we have now create the table is ready. So now from this interface, when user clicks save button, we have to save the data to the table, right? What we have to do is, we have to add our own user defined function, our own user defined function here in the open helper, in the database helper class. We have to add our own function to save the user data. So what I am going to write is the function. I am going to write a function which will return a long value, and the name of the function I am going to keep it as save new user data. This is a function I am going to assume I am going to create by own. It is a user defined function, and while here I want to save 3 data: name, phone number and location. So I have to create a parameter for name, then phone number, then parameter for location. Okay, so 3 parameter is ready. So now what happened? What we can do is, after creating a function, now this function we can call it from here, where after reading the data from the text box we can call that function. That function we can call using this variable. The db is a database helper object, right? So using that variable we can call db dot, what is the function? See that the save new user is coming, right? Save new user. Inside we can pass the person name, comma, contact number, comma, place, that is a location. Okay, so these data we can pass to the database helper class. Okay, so now this is a place where we are calling the saving functionality. We are calling save logic, writing to the database we are calling it. So now what happens when you call right here, the call goes to this place, right? So here you have to write the logic for storing the data in the database, right? So to store the database, first you have to create a SQLite database object, so that will take us a db. Now this db, using this db I am going to write the data. So for that, first we have to take the object get writable database for storing the data. Okay, for storing the data we have to use a get writable database function. So once you get the get writable database object, now we can prepare the data. We can prepare our data. In SQLite we have to supply the data, we have to pass the data. There is one format called content values. So content values are similar to a collection, like a map, or we can say that dictionary in Python. So similar to a dictionary kind of a collection. In Java there is a collection called hash map, right? So similar, otherwise we can say that associative array. Okay, so similar to that, the content values. So content value is a format by which we can store the data in SQLite database. So we have to prepare the content values. So create a content values object. So once you create a content value object, we can store the data, and there is a function called put, where you have to pass the key and the corresponding value. So we have to call put function, and the key must be equal to the column name. So the first column name is name, and the value we can get it from this parameter. So here how you are getting the parameter value? Since you are passing the person name you are passing here, right? So that will be copied to here, and from that parameter we can take the name data, then followed by you can store the phone number, the column name. See the column name phone, you have to pass as a key. Okay, and here you can pass the value phone here, and the next data cv dot put. Inside we can pass the column name location. The column name is location. So now the content values is ready. So now we can use this SQLite database object to store the data. Okay, so how to access db dot? We have to use a db dot. There is a function called insert, where we have to pass the parameter requirement. We have to pass the table name, and there is another So first you have to pass the table name, then you have to pass a null column hack, then content values. The content value we have prepared. The table name is already available. Here we have created a table name called users. So that is a table name you have to pass. Then null column hack. Here if you want to allow any record to be inserted with the null values, we can give those column names. Those column names we can specify here. If you are not allowing to insert a record without with a new null value, you have to specify as a null. So it won't allow any record to be saved as a null record, okay, or empty record, okay. The thing is actually null column hack is actually used to prevent. We should prevent storing a empty data, empty record, okay. So for that you have to give a null values, then you have to give the content value object. So once it is executed, it will return a long value. That is actually long value. That is a record ID. Okay, that is called record ID. So using this record ID is any numerical values. The record ID is a numerical value. This record ID may be a negative or it may be a positive. If it is negative, the record is not saved successfully. We have to consider that the record is not saved successfully. And if you get a positive value, we can ensure that record is successfully inserted in the database. Now this record ID we can return back to the calling function. So this record ID I am going to return back to the calling function, right? So we can check for the condition there. Let's go back to the calling function, the main activity. Here only I am calling the save user data, right? So here I will be getting a record ID. This record ID may be negative. So if it is negative, we can say that there is a problem. It is not able to save the problem, okay. So what we can do is we can check this record ID is greater than 0, okay, greater than 0. If it is greater than 0, we can ensure that the record is saved successfully. So we can display the message by using a toast. You can say that saved successfully. Followed by we can give a time duration also. Then call the show function. Else we have to display the error message. Okay. So now the saving part is done. Now we can verify the output whether the saving functionality is actually working or not. So just I'll stop the previously running application and I'll run the program again. Now let's wait for the output here. So now the app is ready. So first I'll try the name John and the phone number, for example 992442356789. Okay. Location I'll give it as Chennai. Click OK. So now you can click save button. So when you click save button, we are getting the saved successfully. But we want to check whether the data is getting stored or not. So we'll give another data also. For example, I'm going to give another data, David. Some number I'll change here, 7, and this value is actually I'll try with Coimbatore. So now it's save this data also. So now currently 2 data I have saved in the database. Now if you want to see where the data table is getting stored, so there is an option in your Android Studio. Now let's try that. You have to go to the view, select view, tool windows, and you can see device file explorer, and open the device file explorer, where you can see there is a folder called data. Open this data folder, and inside also there is another folder called data. okay, to data folder. Okay, inside the subdirectory data you can find a list of application where you have to locate our project title database app. You have to go to database app. So database app folder is available here. You can see database app folder is there. So when you expand, you can see there is a folder called databases is created inside this folder databases. When you expand, you can see our database is ready. Company, we have given the name of the database as a company, right? DB name. See here you can see that context. After that we have given a database name as company. So it is created here. So if you want to view the data, you have to save this file. You have to save this file, and I am going to save the file in the desktop. Okay, in my desktop. Click OK. Now successfully downloaded the file to the desktop. Now I'll go back to the desktop. Here I can see the company database file is there, right? So company database file is here, right? Now if you want to view this file, you need a software called DB browser. You need a software called SQLite database browser. So that you have to search in Google. You have to find out SQLite. Just type SQLite database browser. Press enter. You'll get the first link. You can see there is a first link, sqlitebrowser.org. Just go to the link, and here you can download. Select download option. Here you can download as with respect to your operating system. It is available for Windows as well as Mac OS also. You can download the software based on the 64-bit or 32-bit. Okay, so download and install. After installation, you will be getting a software called DB browser like this. See here you can see DB browser. When you open the DB browser, so this window just you can simplify. Okay, and this is our file. This is our database file, right? Just you drag and drop, it will open. Just drag and drop, and now you can see. Now you can see it will open the database, and you can see there is a table called users. Okay, whatever table we have created here in the database helper, we have created a table called there is a table we have created called users, right? So this table is created there, and here you can see that. Just I'll show you. Okay, this table, the user table, is available here, and to view the data, right click the table. You have to select browse table. So when you select browse table, see the records. You can see whatever we have uploaded, it is coming, it is available there, right? See the recent data we have stored as David and 794235678, that's location is Coimbatore. So it is actually properly saved in the SQLite database. Okay, so this is a DB browser for SQLite software. You have to download separately to view the SQL database, but you can view only after saving the file. Okay, so every time you have to save, you have to follow the same procedure. You have to go to the device file explorer. The right side also, in the corner also, it is there, device file explorer. Okay, if you click device file explorer, you can see that, and every time after modification also, every time you have to right click save as, go put it in a directory, and go to the directory, open the file using this DB browser for SQLite, and you can see the structure of the complete table. Okay, so now our data is saved successfully. Now we can see how we can read the data, how we can read this data, and how to display it, right? So now let's go back to the code. When user click this view all button, I want to read the data, whatever data available in the table, I want to read, and I want to display it here. Okay, the list of user goes here in this text box. This text box ID is actually, we have set the ID also. The ID for the text box is, the ID is a display ID. Okay, so using this display ID, we have already find the text view here. It is there, text view output. Okay, and the output box is ready here. We have already find the output box. In this output box, we have to display the list of records that we have stored in this table. Okay, right? So now let's see how we can do that. So when user click this view all button, okay, we'll go to this link, set on click listener. Already we have done the event handling, right? So here we have to write the necessary function to retrieve the data from the table. So that necessary function we have to write in the database helper. It is not available. We have to write it. We have to create a separate function. Okay. Now I am going to create one more function to view all the records. View all the records from users table. From users table, I want to view all the records. So for that, I am going to create a function public. The return value is a string. I want to return as a string. Complete all the records. I want to prepare as a string, and I want to return to the back to the calling function. So here I am going to create a function get records, or okay, get all records. Okay, so that we can understand this function, and there is no parameters required. So here inside we have to write a logic. Okay, the logic is very simple. The same way we have to create the variable for SQLite database equal to, since we are reading the database, we have to open the database in a readable mode. Okay, we have to open the database in a readable mode. So that you can do it using get readable database function. So once you create a database object using get readable database, now we can read the data. Okay, you will be getting a readable functionality using a cursor. There is one class called cursor format, right? So now what we have to do is we have to execute the query for reading the data from the table. So let's see how we can do that. So you have to take the db dot, there is a function called raw query execute. We can execute the raw query. So this raw query function returns a cursor object. Okay, it will execute the query and returns a cursor object. The SQL query you have to enclose inside the function. Select star from the normal SQL query, followed by the selection argument. Also we can pass. Since we are selecting all the columns, it is not needed. Now the selection argument is a null, right? So after the execution of this query, it returns a object. That object is called as cursor object. That object is called as cursor object. Okay, capital letter C, cursor object. It is an Android SQLite class. So we can create one object for variable for this cursor object. So we have to import this Android.database. Okay, so it is an Android database class. This cursor object is a virtual table. Here you have to listen carefully. The cursor object is a virtual table. Okay, so cursor object internal representation is a table only. Okay, inside cursor object there is a representation of a table with rows and columns. Okay, and there is a one cursor pointer. The first initially the cursor pointer will be located in the before the first record. Here I have two record, right? Before the first record. This cursor pointer we have to move to the first record. Okay, by moving the cursor pointer to the first record, we can read the data. So for that, to read, so that we can read the first record, right? Similarly, to read all the records, what we have to do is we have to move the cursor, right? So that function we can keep it in a loop, and we can run a cursor dot move to next. Okay, cursor dot move to next. So this will move the cursor to the next record, and it will return true or false. If there is a record, it returns true, otherwise it returns false. Okay, so now since we have two records, we will be getting true, right? So if it is true, now we can read the data. First I am going to read the data name. I am going to read cursor dot. To read the data, we have to call get function, and based on the type of the data, since I am using a all text data, I can use the get string function. We can use a get string function. Inside we have to pass one integer value, that is the index value of the column. By default the column index starts from 0. Okay, so we have to give the first column is 0, and then we can read the next data. The next data is a phone number, so that we can read using, again that is also we have taken as a string 1. Then the third data is a location. We can read cursor dot get string. The third column, the first column starts with 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 3 data we can able to read. So now we have to return as one string, right? We have to return as a one string. So what we have to do is we have to prepare the final output string. That is a final output. We have to prepare as a one empty string initially. Then this empty string we have to concatenate with the every record. Okay, so the concatenation I am doing inside the every iteration. I am taking the current value of output plus, so attaching the name, and one separator we can add, like we can attach a hyphen symbol, then followed by phone number, then attach another plus, attach another separator, location, plus you can put a location. So after that, this is one record, right? So after that we can place one new line, so that every record comes in a vertical order, line by line we can display every record. So complete thing. So here currently I have 2 records, right? So 2 times this for while loop is running. The while loop gets executed 2 times. Every time it will take every column values and populate this name, phone number and location and prepare this output message. So you will be getting this string contains 2 records. Okay, finally we can return this string back to the calling function. We can return the prepared out all the records in a string. So finally we can return the prepared output string to the calling function. So calling function is where we have to call it. Okay, next go back to the main activity. To how to call, again we have to use a database helper object, right? Come to this on click, where to call. When the user click the view all button, we have to call it. Okay, view all button. So go back to the on click function. Here put a string. The output is coming from there, right? So create one variable. String output is equal to db dot, see the function, this function get all records. This is a function we have created, user defined function here, get all records. Okay, so it will call the get all records, right? And the return value here will be storing it here, and this contains a return value. This return value we have to display here in the output box. Okay, so here also output. So what I am going to do is, so this is a results. I will put it as a results. Okay, results from the get all records. Okay, so this results, instead of result we can name it as records. That is fine. Records, all records. Okay, so this records we can display in the output box. The output is a box. Which box? This particular text view box. The list of users goes here. Okay, so here we are going to display. Okay, so for that you have to use a output box. Output is a box, the text view dot set text. Inside set text we can pass the records. So now it will display in the text view. Now to check the output, again we have to run the code again. So click stop and click this run button again. Okay, so now if you click the view all button, see that the records already previously we have stored the data John David, right? So you can see it in the browser, John David, and location is Chennai, right? So correct. So that data we can able to see in the, we can able to read and we can able to show in the text view. Okay, so similarly we'll add one more data. So this I'll close it, otherwise I'll minimize it. I'll I'll store another data, the third record Vimal. Okay, so I want to store it. So the name of the person is Vimal and phone number will take it as 67892 and 9034. Okay, the location is Bangalore, right? So now, after entering the data, I'm going to save it. Click save. Now data saved successfully. Then click view all. Now we are getting the data. Again, if you try another data, for example, I'll try Savior. The mobile number, just I'll change the first digit to 97 and this to 84. Okay, and here instead of Bangalore, I'll put some other place, Mumbai. Okay, so now again save, data saved successfully and it is available in the database. Now we can able to view it here. See the data Savior 9782929084 and Mumbai is coming in the text view. Okay, so now let's go back to the Explorer, and if you want to see the data updated value, again you have to save, and again you have to save it in the desktop. Select yes, successfully. Okay, you have to wait for the message successfully downloaded. Now you go back to the data desktop and you can see here, open the DB browser. So DB browser is opened here. Now I'll just drag and drop and you can see the table here. Open it, browse table. Now you can see currently we have 4 data we have stored, right? So those data we can able to view it here as well as in the screen also, in the application also. Okay, so that's all about how to store data in a SQLite database, as well as how to read the data and display it in the text view format. Thank you.